All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, a.k.a. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, a.k.a. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Welcome, everyone that has just popped in. If you're new here, remember this is going over current events from a prepper standpoint, and we're going to go over a ton. So remember, you can always go over to marfooglenews.com. Not only can you sign up for our notifications, but every single article, picture, tweet, video, document that we show you here today is going to be bibliographed over on our website. Again, today's show is Desperate or Evolving, all hands on deck, of course, talking about how they are now asking essentially anybody with any kind of tattoo, including face, neck, and hands. I believe face, at the very least, neck and hand tattoos are okay again. So do they need a lot more people in a short amount of time? Maybe. We'll talk about that and much, much more. In fact, that wasn't the top story today. In fact, there's many big stories to go over. So if you want to find those and the sources for which we got them, make sure to go over down to the website. When you go down, you'll see that there is every single article, link, tweet, video, picture, document, and of course there is overflow, the stuff that is too hot for TV or the web-only content. So there's a whole other show down there. There's a lot of stuff that just couldn't make it into the show today. So make sure to use that. It is, again, available for everybody, and it's archived, so you can use that search bar. All right, and then let's bring in my co-host / internet brother, Dex James. What is going on today, and how are you doing?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I am doing absolutely fantastic.
So let's get right into the news. We have a ton to go over. Thank you, by the way, Bible Talk 777. We've got Nana of Montana, Be Real Beast, Kano's Kid, PB Ben. Thank you guys for being the last ones out last time. We have Travel Mayhem soars for the 8th day with thousands of delays and 700 cancellations in the U.S., sparking 4th of July chaos fears. So if you are traveling, pay attention. It says that Travel Mayhem has stretched to the 8th consecutive day with thousands of flights delayed and over 700 cancellations in the U.S., sparking 4th of July chaos fears. Flight delays and staffing issues have continued to disrupt travelers, creating a chaotic scene at airports across the nation. Now, about a week ago, one of my nephews came in from California, and he said that every single person in the airport was being checked by a boom boom sniffing dog. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I haven't taken a plane in a while, but again, that I know maybe they do that every once in a while where they do kind of random sweeps or something, but I thought that was kind of odd. Is that the normal now? Do you fly a lot? Do they do that to every single passenger now? I know that it's gotten much more strict as far as taking planes and taking, of course, flights. But at the same time, is there something that we don't know about possible threats or possible hacks going on, tit-for-tat scenarios with, of course, Vlad's country, Xi's country, or NK's country, or any one of them? This is a lot of canceled flights. This is a lot of delayed flights. Something is up with their system. Obviously, it was kind of explained when they were requiring a certain thing that a lot of people didn't show up or quit or retired early. But now they say it's mostly because of staff shortages and weather events and all of this. What do you think, Dex, as far as like what's going on with this?
Well, they've even started to cancel flights, not just cancel, but take them off the routes in certain cities because they don't have enough staff or they're having too many problems. So instead of having delays, they're just getting rid of it. So making it harder to fly to certain cities. Instead of having 10 flights there, they might drop it down to, just a couple of flights a day. So yeah, this is a big problem. I think this is the busiest time of the year in the summer, right? This is when everyone does their traveling. Of course, everybody's been cooped up, so now they're all coming back out after the events of the last 2 years, and they're starting to travel. Of course, prices have gone up, so it's not as easy as it was a little while ago when they were really cheap. But at the same time, it's causing there's a big rush of travel right now, and there's obviously not enough infrastructure in place, I guess, with whether it's people, whether it's traffic controllers, whether it's the routing and the number of flights that they're running to handle it. And so that's sort of what the problem looks like to me.
Well, I do have someone in the family that was with one of the major airlines, and they were one of the director level IT people, essentially, very top of the tip top. And they had worked there for over 40 years, and they actually had quit, and they got an amazing job. They're actually old enough to retire already, but they're actually very healthy, young for their age. They're incredibly healthy, young. He still golfs, he still jogs, he still works out and everything, but he is older. But they required a certain thing, and he didn't want to do that. And he even wrote a strong letter, and they actually pushed it back because of his letter, basically saying, this is something that needs to have more time and all of this. And then they ended up putting this date on it and then saying, well, now we are going to require it. He then left that position after 40 years or 35 years or something like that. And then they dropped the requirements after he had already moved on. He had all of these different flight, anybody that it works any level up in the airlines, they get tons of free flights, they get tons of stuff. All of that is gone now. And again, it was just a couple months later they dropped all of it. So I know that there's a lot of people in the airlines that may have quit because of that same reason. But would it cause this far out? And now, especially since a lot of them have actually dropped those requirements. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below, and let us know what you're thinking. All right, and then thank you everybody that is in the chat, keeping it positive. Thank you, mods, for holding it down there. Nick Morgan, the Bitter Critter. We've got Patty Cotter, Jen Boyles, Arizona Raven, Tinfoil Hat, Deb. Let's see here. We've got, we should have Jay, maybe. Kimbria, Amanda Schroet, Oliver Seaman, Abide. Thank you. And then Peace, Love, Goddess. Nice to see you guys. All positivity, no negativity, okay, guys? We're just not going to put up with drama or negativity, so keep that in mind. Everybody, we need to be pushing forward, not backwards, so make sure to treat others in the chat with respect, and if somebody is coming in with that stuff, it doesn't belong here. All right, thank you. Jeff M., Christina Curry, they are not hiring them back. Christina Curry, I haven't even asked... I haven't even asked him yet if he could get his job back. I'm sure they would want him. I know that they did not want him to leave, and that's why they pushed back the thing. But I think that once you kind of leave over the principal thing, it's kind of hard to go back. Steph Fran, exactly. LOL. Kelly2334, Suzanne Gitz, Kelly Joes, Mary Miles. Thank you, John G, Anna the Neva, Saliva. Nothing negative, y'all. Only Marf. Yeah, okay. And then I've heard that too. Baby Gun, Lisa R. Hall. Thank you so much for being here. Susan Donahue. Thank you so much. I love you guys. High five, high vibed. I love it. Jade Helm is positive, right? Jade Helm. Well, I mean, why? I guess there's actually. I think there's a new version of Jade Helm, which we may talk about. I have heard rumors from our military groups that there is another one if I'm thinking about what Jade Helm is, right? The practice in 2015, the very scary one. I think there is a new one in the works, and it's even scarier. But that's only rumor right now, and the myth among Reddits. All right, and then 2 perished as a NIO electric car falls from a 3rd-floor office in Shanghai. So it straight up poked a hole in the side of the building and came down. I don't know if the people were, I don't think they were inside of it. Were they, Dex, or were the people down on the sidewalk?
They were in the car. So I don't know if maybe like they turned it on and hit the gas and didn't mean to. They're investigating it, but yeah, this is, they've described it as potentially being a showroom or a testing facility or a car parking lot, as we would refer to it here. But we don't know the full story other than this car came crashing down from the 3rd floor.
Yeah, and with an electric car, the acceleration is so touchy. If anyone has ever drove an electric car, when you touch that accelerator, they really go. The one thing they have is that it's super acceleration because there's no lag. There's no input of the gas. When you touch that, it just riles up right away. That's why people love Tesla. Tesla has like a 0 to 60 in whatever 0.3 seconds, right? So, or 2.3, 2 point whatever it is. But as far as this goes, this say a couple people are checking it out. They're touching the buttons. Maybe they touched the start button and didn't even realize it was on, and then hit the gas and then just flew out of the building. That is no good. And pray for the 2 people that have perished. It looks like possibly one is on that stretcher or they're trying to get them out. So very sad, but at the same time, I wonder why they had a car that was able to drive on the 3rd floor next to a window. And then we have Congress passes most significant bang reform bill in decades and sends it to President B. So meanwhile, while everybody is talking about Roe and, of course, Wade, this has passed, and you guess the president will most definitely sign this. And this is the biggest deal ever, and yet there was a couple things that Dex and I were talking about before the show as far as, so the whole decision that came out, everybody is up in arms about for good reason. It's a big argument and it's a big debate. But what if this whole debate is over almost nothing because later on they end up packing courts or they end up just basically undoing what they did, or they make some sort of loophole so it doesn't matter and everybody does it anyways. And it was released on purpose. I want you to keep that in mind. The actual thing was leaked on purpose so people got riled up about it. That's huge. First of all, it's never happened in that form ever again or ever before. And then, of course, look at the other law that just passed through, this bill. This bill is giant. It essentially means that anybody can, basically say, hey, that guy it shouldn't have a bang, and then they go and take it. This is what we were talking about during T-Man's administration. This was one of my main criticisms with T-Man, in fact. I don't know if he was just was being told false, wrong information that day, but he said, he goes, this is a good thing. We should take the bangs first and ask questions later. Essentially, what they were talking about back then is they would take the bangs. If somebody said, hey, this person's psycho, take the bangs, and then they would have 7 days to prove that they're not crazy, and then they could get their bangs back. Basically, take it first, ask questions later. You're guilty until proven innocent. See how that could be a problem, especially here? So something is being bent around, and nobody is paying attention to this, and it's a big deal. In fact, we have mentioned it several times, and it seems like when you talk about this kind of stuff, all of a sudden things come out of the woodworks, and I mean that. It's really crazy. Whatever subjects you end up touching, all of a sudden it's like you hit something, and then everybody starts turning. So this is a big deal, and people need to pay attention to it. I don't know why this wasn't talked about more. Again, it says scrambling to respond to a recent spat of the bang massacres. U.S. Lawmakers passed the most significant federal bang restrictions in decades on Friday, following years of false starts and failures to tighten bang laws. Following Senate passage late Thursday, the House passed the bipartisan bill that takes steps to restrict bang access for the youngest buyers, domestic violence offenders, and other who could pose a risk to their communities. So, Dex, what do you think about this as far as how this went and basically this was actually put through, and this was started by the R side of the aisle, right?
Yeah, well, at least it came out with support. They called it bipartisan support, but there was definitely some specific people out of Texas and other places that were supporting it on the R side, and they were getting booed too quite a bit. I'm shocked that they did that to their constituents. But nonetheless, this thing went through the Senate quickly, like super fast. And then it went through Congress like in a day. Like it went, I think we reported on this 2 days ago that the Senate had passed it. And then boom, here it was today. Congress has passed it. So that's really, really quick, back to back. And now it's just a matter of going to the administration's office, which he already said, hey, as soon as you give it to me, I'll sign it.
And it's in the time that this whole thing was leaked accidentally, right? Or purposely. I don't even think they deny it was purposely given out, right? And then, of course, everybody's up in arms about that, but that can change. Think about it. Even if you are on the side of, you hate this decision to overturn it, they can do a few tricks to undo that stuff. In fact, they can do a lot. As far as this goes, this is a big deal. This is a giant deal. And of course, we have secrets of aging discovered. Scientists find reptiles and amphibians that don't grow old. I think last year they were talking about certain animals, and we actually mentioned a lot of the animals that actually don't die. There are a couple sea animals that live forever. Technically, they kind of do a phoenix kind of thing where they perish, their ashes then like regenerate and turn into another coral. They're a living organism that just keeps going. Some animals that live 5,000 years old, still to this day, not like in the dinosaur age. So lots of crazy things coming out of that. And it says it sounds dramatic to say that they don't age at all, but basically their likelihood of dying does not change with age once they're past reproduction. And it says, in the largest study of its kind, scientists have discovered what keeps certain species from aging, possibly opening the door to longer lifespans for humans. An international team led by researchers from Penn State and Northeastern Illinois University says that they've unlocked the secrets of aging among reptiles and amphibians worldwide. It says across 77 different species from around the globe. Researchers found some with extremely long lifespans, lasting more than a century. While some might think these animals are just sitting at the top of their respective food chains, the team found that there's more to it than that. Some of the creatures living on Earth simply aren't aging at all. So I'm guessing that the only way they perish is if they have like some sort of disease, they have some sort of tick virus or something, or they get eaten. That's a trip to think about. So if you get one of these, I don't know what they're, it does say tortoise. It says researchers say one of the prime examples is Jonathan, the Seychelles giant tortoise. The ancient turtle recently became the oldest living land animal in the world after reaching the age of 190 years old. Previous studies and ectotherms, or cold-blooded animals, have focused on animals living in the closely monitored environments like a zoo. The new study collected data from 107 wild populations worldwide. These findings reveal that turtles, crocodilians, and salamanders all age particularly slowly and have exceptionally long lifespans for creatures of their size. Moreover, protective characteristics like the hard shell of a turtle actually contribute to a biological aging, almost stopping completely. So I know there's a few Foogle fan members with turtles here, and there are some pretty crazy stuff that as far as my sister has a tiny turtle, or actually it's a little bit big. It's about a dinner plate now, but as far as compared to these turtles, which are the size of people, it is a trip to think that they may, and possibly the elites are trying to grab stuff from inside these things and then possibly put it inside themselves to try to live forever or something. I'm guessing that's where they would be going with this. It says anecdotal evidence exists that some reptiles and amphibians age slowly and have long lifespans, but until now, no one has actually studied this on a large scale across numerous species in the wild, says senior author David Miller, an associate professor of wildlife population ecology at Penn State. It says if we can understand what allows some animals to age more slowly, we can better understand aging in humans, and we can also inform conservation strategies for reptiles and amphibians, many of which are threatened or endangered. So think about that. So they could find out some sort of like secret of aging or the secret of youth or something. Probably won't happen in our lifetime because who knows if we'll have a lifetime, but at the same time, it's a trip to even think that there is an animal that is 190 years old. That's almost 200 years ago. So 2022, say 200 years ago would be 1822 minus 10. So the turtle was born in 1832 before all three conflicts. I mean, like, that's insane. That is absolutely nuts. All right, and then by the way, thank you everybody for popping in. I'm sorry if I do look tired. Both of my girls have a stomach flu. Both of my little ones. Both of my girls have a stomach flu, and my son got the flu out of nowhere. And it's not it's not the cough because we had the cough. And I don't think that kids really get it like that. But man, we have had just 2 days of hell. It's one of those things where I don't know if any of you have. Or, well, most of you have kids, but if you had kids and you know that they're super sick and you know that it's something that you can get and basically you choose, I mean, normally if somebody is sick that you live with, you can go, oh, I'm going to stay away from that person or you're going to be in another room. But if it's a 2-year-old or a 1-year-old, it's like you need to be right there and you have to basically put yourself in the line of fire and get sick. So I'm hoping. I have not been like vomit sick in like 8 years. I've had every other kind of sickness. I've had the cough. I've had all that, but I have not like actually vomited or any of that kind of sickness since my drinking days. So it's not fun. As you guys know, anybody that's done it knows it is not fun. But with them, it's like you have to basically coddle them and be right up in their face. And so I'm hoping that I don't get it, and I'm praying that they get better. We have to go to Children's Hospital because it's not getting better, but I'm sure it's just that she can't hold the medicine down. So prayers would be appreciated. I would thank you guys a lot if you did that. And then, and obviously we were even thinking, like, how do you give a kid medicine if they can't take it by mouth? She finally did it when she was half awake this morning at like 8 a.m. She took the medicine, and she was half awake, and she took the Tylenol, and her fever went down. She's only hitting like 99, 100, but it's the weirdest thing ever. So I hope it's not a really late case of a different version of what's going around, but I don't know. It's pretty bad. So thank you guys for being patient, and thank you guys for dealing with the earlier shows. But yeah, so thank you everybody that just popped in. Let's see here. We've got a lot of people. Red Ved Wolf, thank you for popping in. And then we have, thank you for your support, Bible Talk. I appreciate that. Thank you for everybody that is stopping over from different platforms. Thank you guys over on DLive. Thank you, Cynthia Lynn, for yesterday's support. The Littrell Group, LLC. What about SCOTUS ruling on Second Amendment, 623? Again, we've probably already covered it or covering it. Bill Sachs. Hey, Adam, I sent you a message on Twitter. I will check that, Bill. Thank you for your support. Thank you again. Thank you for supporting Independent. Thaddeus J says, yup. Ariel's Pervy Perspective says, Mike's son just turned 18. He could get a happy birthday shout out. His name's Thiago, pronounced Tiago. So I pronounced it wrong already. Well, Tiago, happy birthday, and congratulations. You are an adult, but you can't actually do anything yet. 3 more years until you can actually do the fun stuff, right? And then Baby Bang Bangs, it says they have passed last month a bill that is asking higher tenor folks in the military to extend their contracts. So that's funny that you say that because they just got rid of 12 major leaders in about 3 months. And I wonder if it has something to do with what we're going to talk about here in a little bit, as far as them totally laxing the recruitment, as far as the requirements. I wonder if that's part of it, or if they're trying to just get yes men in there or something. I don't know. But you're talking about replacing 12 with the 12 leaders with the combined experience of probably 12, 600-700 years of experience, and they just wiped them. Kelly Joe Z, thank you so much. Bible Talk 777, again, thank you. All right, and then before we talk about UN chief warns of catastrophe from global food shortage. I do want to remind you, our whole show is powered by Energy. Again, this is a solar generator that can actually be extended up to 96 batteries, or you can keep it with one battery and have it portable. In fact, even with 2 batteries, you could take it with you camping and power pretty much anything and everything you would be taking with you. But what's great about solar generators is they're absolutely silent. That means no one will hear them from 3 blocks away. They also do not take gas, which means you don't have to pay $7, $8, $9, $10 a gallon wherever you may be. And they are extremely convenient for when, if you lose your power, it doesn't have to be the end of the world. It could be an earthquake. It could, of course, be a rolling blackout. You plug your stuff back in and you basically continue business as normal. That is why we have one of these backing up our studios. If I do lose power, which I lost power, I want to say 6 times last year, which we had to miss shows for, I will be backed up by this. Again, Flex 1500 Energy is one of the base kits. They have up to $170 off on different kits right now. That's a new thing as far as they've never had sales before this first one that they did. And again, it's a big one. So make sure to get over there and also check out their foldable, portable solar panels. It's easy, plug and play. You just plug them in and you're good. Not only that, you can extend it, you can get as many batteries as you want, and you can even get mods to triple the input that they take in. So instead of plugging in 4 panels, you can plug in 12. Every purchase that you get, not only do you get a discount right now, but you're also helping reinforce the growth of our channel. You are helping us. Again, we are independent. We don't have any backup. We basically have to stand up for ourselves, and you guys are all a part of this. So thank you, everybody that does this. Either way, though, this is a great product. It is one of the best and one of the most coveted. There was a waiting list that was 3-4 months long, and people still ended up ordering them. Right now, that waiting list is down, and the ship date is just now. Dex, do we know the ship date, or are they already shipping?
It's in July, so it's coming up real quick. So the next week or 2, they'll start. I know they've already started shipping out.
Yeah, so it's technically, it's already starting to kind of ship out the first units, but yeah, so you will actually get them.
Well, they've been shipping for a while. It's just that a lot of people are backlogged because there's so many orders. So they've been shipping, but yeah, the big chunk of them are coming out, and the back order, or the list should go down to 0 in the coming weeks.
Which means, again, that you will get it soon. So marfooglenews.com/energy. Think about this for anybody that has a CPAP machine that you, again, might keep you alive, or any other thing like oxygen machines that have a short backup battery. I know that power banks and things like this have already saved lives. So again, marfooglenews.com/energy. Thank you guys for supporting independent. All right, and then Dex, do you want to talk about the UN chief warns of catastrophe from global food shortage? Telegraphed over and over. I almost feel
like he said this before, right? And maybe it was someone else, but we keep hearing about these catastrophes coming from these major, groups telling us that there's going to be a food shortage. So this is yet another one coming from the chief over at the UN. So basically giving an excuse for what has happened in UKR, as well as other things like, the climate and the supply chain that came out of all the stuff that's been going on for the last 2 years, that all of that has sort of creating this, I guess you could call it a perfect storm or a catastrophe, as they're referring to it, for a food crisis. So we'll have to see if this plays out. We see it, at least in the prices. We've all experienced it. I know everybody's gone to the grocery store. Everything is much more expensive. I don't know where we stand yet on an actual shortage outside of the stuff we've reported on, with the countries holding back what they've been traditionally exporting, holding their own exports back to keep it for themselves, whether it be rice and wheat and things like that, and grains. So we've heard a little bit about that. We've reported about that. A lot of people are speculating that this is all going to come to a head, and it very well could. We just need to pay attention to what's going on. These big groups, like this one in particular, they tend to make these big statements, and they usually have a motive behind it as well.
Yeah, and most of you already believe that a lot of this is some sort of kind of put together thing that may have been telegraphed years or even decades ago. You're probably right. As far as the food catastrophe, as we see, everyone is blaming Vlad. Everybody is blaming that country, this country, that country, but nobody is really taking responsible here for what we could have done differently. That is one thing that they could have done very, very soon. But as you guys know, politicians usually don't want to take responsibility. It's almost like in every country, Xi's country is a great example. But what's funny is like over there, especially in the very beginning of this, everybody didn't want to be the one that was responsible, so they basically pushed it down a notch. They said, oh, no, it's the guy underneath me that's responsible. It's the guy underneath him. And it just kept going until there was somebody who over there would probably get offed or something. But here it happens too. It's just a whole lot more subtle, and they are much more slick and fixed up hair and ties, and they just tell you with a smile on the face. As far as there are agencies deciding what our country and your country and your country and your country and your country are doing, and they are not they're not actually put in there by us. These are people that agencies that are basically put together by people that are directly connected with some of the biggest corporations in the world. So it's a very scary thought to think that the big business that you don't worry about giving your information to. A lot of people go, I'm not doing anything wrong, so I don't care if they know what I buy. Well, guess what? Once they get your profile down 100%, then they basically own you, and they have your information to make money off of and then go pay somebody's pocket so they can pass things like bills and things like that, and everybody looks the other way. This is the thing. We are slaves to the corporate world. I mean, this is insanity. But nobody is paying attention outside of this audience, of course. All you guys are just incredibly smart. Everybody sees something, and most people know that there's something bigger coming. That's why I don't have to argue with you or convince you of anything that, as far as something bigger is coming. It's just everyone feels it. We all know something is wrong here. Even the people that do believe it, they must have a bad feeling about things. And it's not good to have a bad feeling. You should try to have a good feeling and be positive about it. And that's, I guess, what we're trying to turn around. We need to be positive about the negative things that are happening right now. Nobody is perfect, but we can try. We can try our best. We can try to look at these horrible things coming, and we can try to essentially prepare the best we can. All of us have different backgrounds. All of us come from horrible, horrible things. We can all work together as a family and move forward. And I'm talking to the patriarchs and matriarchs. If you have kids and family, you should be looking at how to get ready and think about what you can do to make your life more comfortable in case any of these bigger things happen. As far as food, it's not a catastrophe if you have a ton of stored up food, especially if you can't find it on the shelves. If you have them on yours, then it's a lot better than not having it at all. And you can always do that. I mentioned, again, Alaska Prepper. There's a great payday prep. He takes a very tiny amount of money and puts it into preps. He's got tons of videos out there on that. Every payday, he would just spend a tiny percentage of his payday on preps, and he would do it affordably. That's the kind of stuff that people need to be learning. You don't have to be rich to prep. You just need to be patient. All right, and then we have current business maybe showing accelerated evolution. It's talking about the monkey. It says as more cases rise. So, Dex, they're already changing things, and we're probably actually going to cover that here. Yeah, so that is in this one. So, Dex, they're actually setting it up to make this a whole lot like something that's really familiar to what we've already gone through.
I know. Doesn't this sound awfully, like a playbook we've been down before? This is kind of,
reminiscent.
Telling. Yeah.
Yeah. It says the outbreak that the health authorities first noticed in Europe back in May is getting worse. According to the W and the H and the O latest report, there are over 2,100 cases, and those are all confirmed. At least one person has perished. So out of 2,100, one has perished. I'm actually surprised at the numbers there. Obviously, they most likely they have good treatment for it, I'm guessing. It says it's not good news. The monkey, a viral that causes fever and rash, can be fatal in a small percentage of cases, is endemic in Africa, and now is running amok on every other permanently inhabited continent. And evolving quickly. Well, health officials have all the tools they need to contain it, primarily contact tracing and the right now, the V is moving faster than we are and adapting. So what's crazy is this is a form of the small, and I showed you this. I showed you this years ago. I showed you this in 2019. In fact, I'm going to pull it up right here. They purchased, remember the small version of this, which is in the same kind of family, that thing that you pop in, and you pop into your arm. That thing is actually good for both. So remember the small version of this was eradicated in 1981, or at least that's what we thought. In fact, there were only 2 labs in the world that had it. Atlanta, Georgia, and Vlad Country. And that Vlad Country lab, just in 2019, just happened to have a odd explosion out the side of the building that it actually exposed one of their main labs to the open air. So just kind of crazy that this happened. So let me show you what I'm talking about. And for anybody that's been watching my channel for a long time, you guys already know exactly what I'm going to show you. And Dex, actually, while I'm looking up the first one, could you look up the explosion that came out of the lab in Vlad Country?
Yep.
And I'll do the purchase of, I think it's us. And remember, this is before any of this actually went down. Again, most of you are, regular watchers, so you know this. And by the way, there's a whole bunch of new ones, right? But what we're talking about is the ones that were back in 2019. And it was, let's see here. That's way back in 2013 tons. 2019. Maybe it wasn't DHS. Let's see.
It's mine's in screener when you're ready for it.
Okay, I'll pull it up. Let's see. Can you find the one from 2019? It's hard to do it live.
Is that the purchase?
Yes, of thousands. And then let's see here. Boom. So this happened in 2019. Within 3 weeks of this event, it just so happened that that housing that, right? This is a place that was housing this really bad thing. That again, this new business is actually a part of the family, right? And the solution for this actually works for the monkey version as well. It says an explosion has caused a fire at a Vladian biological research facility that's one of only 2 centers in the world known for housing samples of this eradicated V. It says the blast occurred Monday during repair work of a sanitary inspection room at the Vladian State Center for Research on Viral and Biotechnology, known as Vector, near the Vlad city of Novosibirsk in Siberia. One worker was injured in the incident and was being treated in intensive care for burns. It says in a statement, Vector said that no biohazard material was being stored in the room where the explosion took place. The city's mayor also insisted that the incident does not pose any biological or any other threat to the local pop. Now, what's even crazier is the purchase of all of the stuff for this happened 3 weeks, I believe, prior. Is that right, Dex? Do you see the date on that one? It's either prior or after, and I almost want to say that it was prior, which would say something, right? That a thing over there, and then fast forward, this is before we were directly, butting heads with them. Now we're all in this scenario right now where, everybody's questioning if we're going to go directly to conflict with them. Dex, what were the dates on this?
The date on the purchase, or the announcement of the purchase, the $2 billion spend would have been September 3rd, 2019.
And then what is the date on the explosion? So December 3rd. And then what is the explosion?
September 17th.
what is that? 2 weeks? That's 14 days, exactly 2 weeks before. Or no. Yeah, that's it. So it just so happens, and I'm not saying it, I'm just saying, $2 billion HHS contract awarded for the thing that fixes all of this 2 weeks before the boom boom goes off. And it's crazy to think of, and maybe they were just being overly protective and overly cautious. But it was eradicated in 1981. Just saying. That's it. It's a question that should be asked, and I'm surprised not many people are. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. And then, of course, Supreme Court gives states green light to ban abortion, overturning Roe. It says the bombshell 5-4 decision is set to upend races across the country as governors, attorney generals, and other states' local leaders gain new powers to determine when this will be permitted. It says the Supreme Court on Friday revoked the constitutional right to an abortion that has been in place for half a century, overturning Roe v. Wade. On a 5-4 vote, clearing the way for dozens of states to swiftly ban it and throwing the country into uncharted political, legal, and social medical territory. Now, remember, there are a couple loopholes that could actually partly undo this, or at least make it so where it's similar to some things that are happening with marijuana and things around that. There could be things, and I believe they could. Dex, you said they could possibly pack the courts even, right?
Well, yeah, they could. I mean, ultimately, this goes to the state. So it's up to each state to decide what they're going to do. And, states will make their decisions. Whether or not it'll become a national thing, there's ways around that. And that'll be whether or not they do something like court packing and change the structure of the actual Supreme Court. But the thing that not getting into the debate over this, because I don't want to touch that subject at all, but just the thing that we need to be paying attention to, and we've said this before, is when this comes out, which it just did, that's going to sort of light a fire across the spectrum of people on both sides. So you're going to have, a lot of protesting and probably a lot of counter going on as well. So pay attention, be aware. If you're going into a big populated area, understand what may or may not be going on there before you head into that direction. And you might want to steer clear of some of this if it, gets ugly, like we've seen things in the past, since we seem to be in a new era of how, we go out and the world goes out and protests. So things are a lot different today.
Yeah, but I think that if it's all organic and no one's handing out $20 bills, that it might be a little bit different, but that, just my thought on it. Bible Talk 777, God bless the court ruling, no matter what the reason. Let's see here. I didn't see the rest of it. Babies' lives matter. Joseph Newhouse, new video, Holy Secrets of the Stars, talking about checkerboard symbolism in Nayeon's new music video. She is from Twice. From Twice. Is that a band? Let's see. I'll have to check it out, Joseph. And then somebody think of a way. There must be one we can stay in communication after SHTF. Ham radios is probably the best one that people came up with. But there were, back when we were doing that, there was a lot of talk about how back then California and certain places were like trying to remove ham radio repeaters, the repeating towers, which I thought was just add one onto the frickin' pile of weirdness. And then Spartano Negative, it's going to get worse. And then Charity Elizabeth, Adam activated charcoal will stop it before it starts. No. So 2 days before all that went down, my wife was going to do that, the activated charcoal, but she wanted to wait. It was really sudden. It just came on out of nowhere. We knew it basically spread over because my son started, doing it too. So yeah, I'm sure Children's will take care of everything and it will be good. And then Latrell Group, thank you again. Bill Sachs, Thaddeus J. Again, Thaddeus, nice to see you again. It's nice to see some familiar names in there. Be Real Beast, Kano's Kid, PB Band, and everybody that is popping over. And then D-Live, thank you guys. I appreciate everybody over there. Scooby-Doo, right? It's nice to see you again. Nice popping in. And then we've got Zippy Moon, says, happy birthday, Tiago, or whatever, LOL. Yes, actually, I think you spelled it right. Tiago, of course, Ariel's previous perspective, or no. Yeah, that was Mike's son. And then Scooby-Doo right, hello to my buddies. Can't chat, but love you all. Well, hopefully you're watching the replay later, or you're still watching. Kelly2334, thank you so much for the Ninja Guinea over on DLive. And thank you for everybody that is supporting Independent. Kelly2334, talk to you later 2021. I love that. TTL 2021, that's great. Release the Quacken, Vicky K, and thank you for gifting out a badge to, Release the Quacken's the one giving out badges. Thank you. Be good, be kind, be careful, and behave. Love it. Release the Quacken, Vicky K, Happy Friday, Adam and Dex, and of course, Stevie Hibbs, Igwar, and Priscilla R, all old school Foogle fam members. Thank you guys for stopping in. And then we have Congress is bringing back the idea of limited nuclear conflict. Dex, this is something that I don't believe. How long ago did this how long ago was this talked about before?
Well, it's specifically I don't know when they were talking about this before, but specifically what they're looking at is funding a new nuclear armed sea-launched cruise missile. So, we haven't really been investing in outside of hypersonics, which is a delivery vehicle. We haven't really been investing in a lot of other new nukes. So this is going to be probably a borderline on that, but it seems like it's something the administration didn't want to do, but it's coming out of the same party side. Not that I'm trying to get political here. From Congress, they're trying to bring back this idea of having these and spending money on this.
See what I mean? Like, why now? They say that lawmakers are betting $45 million that a nuclear war does not automatically mean the end of the world. Representative Jim Cooper, Dem out of Tennessee, recently added an amendment to the House version of the fiscal 2023 National Defense Authorization Act, or the NDAA, that would provide $45 million for nuclear-armed sea-launched cruise missiles, even though President JB's administration was indicated that it wants to stop the program. Defense officials have not said publicly how powerful the nuclear-armed sea-launched cruise missile is, but Pentagon spokeswoman Oscar Sierra described it as a low-yield weapon. Why would they even say that? Low yields? Are they so? But is that an EMP, or is that just a smaller nuke?
Probably smaller. Probably like tactical stuff, not the big stuff.
Okay, but that's still freaky. Why are they even talking about this? Why are they adding it in quietly to the fiscal budget? That's that's creepy. You see why most of us are like thinking, hey, there's just a small chance that there's something that could be going down. Sweetie Turner, thank you for your support. Thank you for supporting, of course, Independent. I appreciate you. Nice to meet you, too. I don't believe I've seen you here before, so thank you. And then before we talk about NK's new Army, duties point to possible nuclear deployment. It's kind of like timing here. I do want to remind you, if you do want to protect yourself against an EMP, an electromagnetic pulse, or if you want to protect yourself from a CME, the natural kind, a Carrington-level event that is possible, again, is a guaranteed. It's just more of a when rather than an if. You can actually do so with an EMP shield. An EMP shield grounds the signal of an EMP, all three phases, or a CME, in 500 trillionths of a second before it can fry your device. Whether before it can fry your car, whether before it can fry your RV, your motorcycle, your boat, your house, your generators. They have a system for pretty much everything. I believe they have over 30 systems for different things, and pretty much anything that you want to keep running after a CME or an EMP, you can get so. That is, again, at marfooglenews.com/EMP. This is the same company that has been called up by our previous administration during the executive order to harden our EMP grid, our power grid. They have worked with agencies like DHS, DOD, and now the DEMSO team helping the Texas grid. So make sure to get over there. It's 100% American-made. It's a veteran-owned business, and it is $50 off per device when you go through our code. That not only helps us, but I believe in the future, if either one of these things happen, it will save lives. And there's a third protection that not many people talk about, which is the lightning protection. If you live in the Midwest in a place where it's a lot of lightning, this can actually protect your home against huge strikes. Again, they even have a guaranteed lightning guarantee, 100% lightning guarantee backed by a $25,000 insurance policy. No questions asked if you get struck. So again, it's an amazing product. Make sure to get it. The car is easy to put in. It takes about 10 to 12 minutes if you're unexperienced. And it's super easy to put in, and then your car is protected, and it runs when nobody else's does. All right, and then Dex. Let's talk about NK. We have shown all the kind of the rhetorical words being thrown back and forth, going off of what we just read. Now we hear something like this. What's the deal?
Well, it sounds like they were making suggestions that they're creating new groups in their military, and one of which was to deploy battlefield nuclear boom booms specifically. So this is definitely a new deployment on their part, or a new confirmation, I guess, along the lines of them having this kind of capability. So why would they need to create this group if they don't have this capability? So they're creating this group. So it sounds like they're planning to bring their stuff online relatively soon if they haven't already.
Yeah, something is a little off here. And remember, what I think is that NK could be kind of the left or right hand to some other country. It could be the place. Well, we know that Vlad and G possibly are doing all sorts of illegal things through NK, because NK is totally isolated. They can run a lot of illegal things through there. That is, again, my guess, and many documentary makers. Of course, NK does a whole lot of illegal stuff because pretty much everything is illegal. They are completely, isolated from the rest of the world. But not only that, a lot of their money making goes through streams. They even send their citizens out to do kind of black market type stuff, and then they come back. To be honest, if I was a citizen and they openly let me out and sent me on a mission, I would just keep going. But apparently people are afraid. They think that, hey, the country's going to track me down, so they come back with the money and give it to the government. It's quite a system over there. But also, there's been a lot of questions been asked for the last 3 years about the ruler. Kim Jong is who everybody talks about, but the person who's talking is his sister. This is right after he had some sort of brain surgery, or it was a brain surgery, correct? Or it was heart surgery, or I want to say it was brain surgery. People thought he was perished, and then they thought he was a vegetable, and then they said, oh no, he's healing fine and he's better. But then after that, he stopped really speaking. Does he now have a speech impediment? Did he have a stroke? Did he have an aneurysm? What actually happened? And then in that culture, unless they have like changed their culture and how they work and made the sister some sort of god, it's weird to see her speaking for the family. Is she crazier than her brother? Did she set him up? Was she helped by other governments to kind of step him down? People have said that they, of course, see him. A lot of people have even questioned there's weird markings on him. He's lost weight. They think he may be a body double. All sorts of weird things going on. So for some reason, I think NK will play a bigger part, even though they're a smaller country. I want to say that they will play some sort of part in this whole reset thing. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you think. And then U.S. conducts Taiwan Strait flyover amid tensions with Xi. A U.S. Navy P-8 Poseidon reconnaissance plane flew over the Taiwan Strait on Friday in a demonstration of the United States' commitment to a free and open Indo-Pacific. Just days after 29 Xi warplanes entered Taiwan's self-declared Air Defense Identification Zone, or the ADIZ. And it says a U.S. Navy P-8 Poseidon transited the Taiwan Strait in international airspace on June 24th. The United States will continue to fly, sail, and operate anywhere international laws allow, including within the Taiwan Strait. By operating within the Taiwan Strait in accordance with international law, the United States upholds the navigational rights and freedoms of all nations. The aircraft's transit of the Taiwan Strait demonstrates the United States' commitment to a free and open Indo-Pacific. On Tuesday, the Xi Defense Ministry said that the 29 PLA Air Force planes were a mix of fighter jets, early warning and control aircraft, electronic aircraft, anti-submarine aircraft, electronic intelligence aircraft, and aerial refueling aircraft. So they basically brought the whole 9 yards. They brought not only the jets, the bigger planes, the boomers, and the refuelers. So they were doing a practice run. Dex, comments?
Well, yeah, they're going back and forth. This whole pressure that's being built around there from our side, from Taiwan side, from Xi side, pushing whether they're rolling in and breaking the ADIS zone to try to see how they're going to scramble so they can get better intelligence against them and stress their military out, having to react every time. To us going and flying over and taking aircraft carriers down through there. I mean, the back and forth right now is literally at an all-time high. I don't know how much closer we need to be, or what more we would do without actually getting into a straight up, conflict at this point. Cause it seems like we're already at that brink. We're already at that edge. Like the only thing left is actually doing it. It's there. It's kind of obvious and clear to see.
Well,
not that I want that to happen. I'm just saying it's just like there's nothing left at this point because we are going back and forth. Well,
it's a matter of time, and at some point, something's going to snap. UKR armed forces defeat sabotage groups, launch airstrike on large Vladian group concentration. General staff reports. So it says that essentially the UKR troops have uncovered and defeated several Vladian sabotage and reconnaissance group and deployed combat aircraft to launch an airstrike on a concentration of Vladian troops. General Staff of the Armed Forces of UKR said, and it says Vladia continues to conduct missile strikes on critical civilian infrastructure facilities across the territory of UKR. On the Silvershina front, Vladian troops fired on civilian and military infrastructures in the vicinity of Tosvodubov, Bashkiv, Holovkiv, and Manukivka in Sumy Oblast. It says on the Kharkiv front, Vladian forces fired on some of the neighborhoods of the city of Kharkiv, as well as on Stary Saltiv, Karybashny, Peshniny, Dementivkiva. Nothing that I'm saying right now is right, with artillery. Vladian sabotage and reconnaissance group ramped up their activity in the region. On the Sivyansk front, they have, of course, Vladian artillery fired on civilian infrastructure in the vicinity of Bohon, Kasapilia, some more names I can't say, and Chervona Poliana. Essentially, by the way, this goes over almost all the stuff. It doesn't sound like UKR is doing too great, even when they put everything out there. It sounds like Vlad is making some ground. But somehow they say that they have successfully repelled these certain groups. Meanwhile, there are places just being pummeled.
And it'll be interesting, Adam, to see if
we give money.
Anything changes since we've sent more money, more equipment, and of course the line in the red line was drawn saying, if any NATO equipment is used. But plenty of it is going over there. So if any of these advancements on UKR's side is starting to come true with NATO equipment, it will be interesting to see if that makes any difference, both from, ending this as well as what Vlad has said specifically that he would do if that were the case.
They're putting out TikTok videos showing them using stuff on Vlad. The official UKR military put out a couple videos of them using some of the crazy rocket stuff that they just got. Those are no joke weapons. You're talking about, they show one where it was hidden in bushes and it was covered in leaves and it was basically camouflaged into the bushes. They pull out and they launch, and even if that was just a test video, those things are massive. They are in extremely... I don't know if that was what I was looking at was HIMARS, but HIMARS are no joke. So if you have to remember, you have to take everything with a grain of salt that's coming out of UKR and Vlad country, because both countries are saying something completely different. But when you find both sides agreeing, that's kind of like a small percentage of this, then you can kind of say, okay, that may be true. That's my thought on it, at least, because when they both agree on something, then it's a little bit better. But everything else is totally disagreed upon. It's not going well, to say the least, for either anybody. We shouldn't be in this crazy thing. Nobody should be in conflict. Conflict is bad, especially when it's possible that it will pull everyone in. And then a close ally calls on Vlad to strike London first in WW2. It says a member of the Parliament of Vlad Country Defense Committee advocated that the invasion of NATO Baltic countries. On the state's TV Channel 1, he said that there was no other way to prevent the West blockading Vladia Enclave Kaliningrad. It says such a move would trigger NATO's Clause 5 and spark WW3. We'll destroy the entire group of enemy space satellites during the first air operation, said Lieutenant General Gurulov, a senior commander who now represents the United Vladia, the main pro-Vlad political party. It says, no one will care if they are American or British. We would see them all as NATO. It says, second, will mitigate the entire system of anti-missile defense everywhere and 100%. Third, we will certainly won't start from Warsaw, Paris, or Berlin. The first to be hit will be London. It's crystal clear that the threat to the world comes from the Anglo-Saxons. This is an actual quote going out on Vladia TV. This is crazy. Are you guys absorbing this? This is nuts. And this is a lieutenant general essentially saying, we should first strike, we should take out all of them, and they're basically saying we should trigger WW3. This isn't a host. Previously, it's been a host. Dex, we see a lot of like the hosts, like basically like the Vladian, Tucker Carlson, or the Vladian, liberal media, the conservative media. Both sides have said some crazy stuff. But now
this is an official, right? So and they're pretty strong. But a couple of things on this. Again, it's telling because it's coming out in their agenda. But what is it telling their population, right? That's what I sort of think about with this. Part of this is being said for the rest of the world to hear, but a big part of this is being said for their own population to hear. So what is that doing for their own population? Are they trying to reinforce that they're winning? Are they trying to reinforce that everything's good and they've got great plans and everyone should be excited about them? Or are they just trying to show that they're strong and are willing to do whatever? That's a good question to ask when you think about these kind of statements coming out on their major television channels like that, because obviously it's going to the people there first and foremost, but then secondarily it's for the rest of the world to consume. And that's what we're doing.
Well, just to read the rest of this, it says, it says, I'll just read the quotes. It says, as part of the operation to destroy critically important sites, Western Europe will be cut off from power supplies and immobilized. All power sites will be destroyed. And in the third stage, I shall see what the USA will tell Western Europe on continuing their fight in the cold without food and electricity. I wonder how the U.S., will manage to stay aside. This is the rough plan, and I deliberately leave out certain moments because they're not to be discussed on TV. I mean, this is coming directly from the mouth of their side. If this is at all true, this is why we prep. If it is total ganda, great. But I guess we're all gambling right now. That is some scary stuff. So remember, there's positive ways to look at this. There's solutions. You should have basic backup plan with your family if something does go down. But also this kind of tells us in the UK, if you're watching from the UK, I would especially hope that you would try to get some sort of plan together, especially if you're in London. But as far as in the United States, in Australia, and other places, this if this is anywhere close to their actual plan, then maybe we would have some warning. But as far as the folks in the UK, like Gem and others, I would say even if it's a 1% chance or it's 0.1% chance that this is true. I mean, look at how he says it. This is the rough plan. I deliberately leave out certain moments because they are not to be discussed on TV. This is what they're saying on their TV. I mean, this is absurd. How did we get to this point? Dramatic moment. Vladian missile fails during launch and boomerangs back before blowing up Vlad's troops. Now, this very well could be completely Ganda. We'll show you here in just a sec. I want to remind everybody, if you do not have long-term survival food, make sure to go over and check out marfooglenews.com/prep. You can actually get MREs and freeze-dried foods. Right now, there is a huge shortage in freeze-dried foods everywhere. They still have full stock, so you can get any kind of pretty much everything they have. Again, they have all sorts of great meal plans. They also have 72-hour kits. They have 1-month kits. They have 3-month kits. When you go over and purchase the 3-month kit, you'll actually get $150 off through this code if you do want to go big. Again, you also can find the Alexa Pure Pro over there, a gravity-fed water filtration system that, again, will clean out your water of all sorts of bad stuff. That is, if you don't trust what's in your tap water, highly recommend it. But even if something does go down, you would want water filtration for rainwater, for whatever water you can find. As far as they also have crazy stuff like iodine tablets. They have radios. They have gadgets. They have pretty much all the sorts of, survival shovels and all sorts of stuff. So make sure to go check it out. marfooglenews.com/prep. Mainly, though, the food is good. It's actually good. I ate a 7-year sample, and it tasted like it. I mean, I don't know if it was because it was one of the best ones they had, but it tasted like it was something I bought from the store and cooked fresh. It was really good. MREs have definitely evolved in the last 30 years. All right, and then Dex. As far as this video, right? We don't know. Do we absolutely know that this is in Vlad country or? The thing is, now there are so many videos on TikTok that look like real videos that are actually done for, like, what is that game, Arma 3? Arma 3 is a military simulator, and it looks so real on a high-end computer. It makes scenes that they've put up on YouTube, and people have thought that they are actually scenes from the UKR versus Vlad conflict, because they can set up the parameters. They can even set up the, what the tanks look like, they can set it up to where it looks like a real scene. In fact, Arma 3 is used by the military as a simulator. So I never trust video of either side because it can be fake now. Everything can be faked. Dex, what do you think after watching it?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible. This is being reported across some of the main, it went viral, it went out there. It's being reported by some of the main news agencies as well. That doesn't mean that they've vetted it fully, other than, the video I think came out from a Telegram post where they have posted things like this before, not necessarily fakes, but just where this type of information comes out from that side of the conflict is usually on Telegram. That's the network they use. So, but yeah, it clearly goes up, comes back down, and makes a U-turn and hits. But they don't report any casualties in that area. There were local reports of a fire in that area. So there's some other stuff that sort of backs it up circumstantially. But don't trust videos at all when you see them. So. Especially these kind of things. Well,
and go look up Arma 3. If you look up Arma 3, you'll see some videos that you literally think are real, and they're not. They are a video game simulation, but very well done. Even the lighting, the shadows, the time of night, the sunsets, it's better than some of the crazy Xbox X or PlayStation 5 games. It depending on what kind of computer it's on, but. And then let's see here. Thank you, and thank you. Thank you, Carol McLean. Thank you for sticking with us for years now. You're number one in my opinion. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Shirley Millward, marvelous and excellent. Thank you for all you do. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for sticking with us. And then Carol McLean, thank you for the super sticker. Red Pilled says, talk about timing, or is it irony? I don't think it's irony, actually. And I do want to see the rest of that. Red Pill, thank you so much for supporting us through thick or thin. Again, I hope everything you are doing is quite successful now. Talk about timing, or is it irony? The Supreme Court gives win on the 2nd for the right to carry for New York, and in the same week, our legislators infringe on our second rights. Yeah, it's nobody. Everybody noticed, and every article I see is like big win for this, but nobody's talking about the big loss. Littrell Group LLC, exhaust fluid disappearing in months. Stock up. Oh, Littrell, I don't know if this is, there was somebody who actually did there was a few employees that told us that from O'Reilly's and some of the auto parts stores. So there's a lot of crazy things that are now short. Like exhaust fluid, steering wheel fluid, oil, obviously car oil, and then other things have gone up so freaking much. Another employee of an O'Reilly's said that they just straight up for 3 weeks did not get shipments of certain things like windshield wiper fluid. All these different things that are obviously produced in mass are just not coming. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Marfup, you did cover SCOTUS Second Amendment ruling last night. I never miss a show. The CV, of course, it got me yesterday, and things are cloudy. Thank you for you indexing the truth. Littrell Group LLC, yeah, it's a cloud brain. It feels like something that was made in a petri dish. Does it not? For 3 years, I didn't get it, and now that I have, I think it's a petri dish. Which freaks me out. I guess you don't until you get it. And then once you do, you're like, this is different. And it feels like your whole brain is one cloud. I can't even explain it. And it's not like I think that it was, I think the thing is a scary thing. And it actually reverberates what the guy told me years ago when I was at in Ocean Shores, the military guy that was at the site of the new radar. And he basically told me, he's like, oh yeah, this is, they basically did a T attack on us. That's what his opinion was. I'm starting to see the light there. All right, and then Dex, we have our off-grid giveaway, and of course, we have a ton of overflow, lots of crazy stuff down in the web content.
Yeah, absolutely. So head over to marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for the show, or if you're on YouTube, open that description and click on show notes. It'll take you directly to this page, and the first thing on it should be the off-grid giveaway. So if you haven't had a chance to register to win, now's your chance. There's a few days, maybe 10 days left, I think now, 10 or 11 days left. So make sure you go over there and do that because you want to win that backpack. It's a really nice backpack, about $380. And it's got protection for your laptop, your cell phone, your tablet, your key fob, anything that's electronic. It can go into those special pouches inside. Plus, you can store 2 days worth of clothes and a whole bunch of other gear all in this bag. It's really nice, high quality too. So make sure you hit that. That's on the page. You'll then scroll through. You'll see everything we talked to you about tonight, and then you're going to get to this section that says Overflow Web Content. That's where the rest of the story is going on. Of course, the big news that came out today, the overturning, that's going to be covered in depth there. There's plenty more going on, especially around what are happening in different states, what people are doing, what they're preparing for as far as events that they think are going to happen. That's all being covered there to the best of our ability. But again, I think you're going to hear a lot more over the weekend and over the coming days. So keep your eyes peeled on those type of activities. Lots of other stuff happening. A major recall for one of the first EV cars from Toyota. Some information about octopuses and then in their brains and how similar they are to our brains, which is kind of fascinating. And then the one thing that we do want to talk about for just a moment is what the Army is actually doing with their tattoo policy. And they're basically relaxing it completely so that you don't, I guess they can get more recruits. So I don't know if this is just an evolution as we refer to it, or is this because we need more in our military and if we're short. So that's definitely there if you want to go learn more about that. I don't know, Adam, if you had any comments on that policy change that's happening, but it's right there, and everything else over on marfooglenews.com.
So as some of you, if you're old school, then you would know, I actually tried back when I was 18 or 19, and I had already made my dumb mistake when I was 18 years old and got a tattoo. And at the time, it was just my bands, and they would not let that happen at the time. And they have bounced back several times. They have done it to where you could do from here to here. They did it from here to here. They did it, and then they allowed certain other ones. Then they would move backwards. Now they're allowing neck tattoos and hand tattoos. Now, you could either say that, they're basically opening the doors because they need anybody they can get. I always thought it was funny my opinion on this when I was 18 and 19, I said, well, why would you not allow the people with tattoos? Usually the people with tattoos are the guys that are gung-ho that will want to run in there and do some stuff. They're not exactly, usually when you think of somebody with tattoos, and of course I was 18 thinking, those are the tough guys. But they didn't want that at the time. I think the Navy at that point did or something, but I didn't want to do that. I was one of those kids in high school that the Army recruiter would take me to lunch. They were really hardcore at my school, and I was pumped about it, but then I couldn't do it. So I just thought it was kind of crazy that now they're adding neck tattoos and hand tattoos, and it's basically laxing. And this is on top of the craziest, biggest bonuses we've ever seen in history. This is also on top of the lowest, I think the lowest recruitment numbers in history as well, or at least in the last decade or 2 decades. So nobody wants to join, but there's a lot of people that probably did that, of course, were, put out because of, say, a tattoo or something like that. Now they can. As far as, I wonder, though, if this is part of the whole thing where they replaced these military leaders, they replaced a lot of this stuff, and they were doing this whole woke thing in the military. I wonder if they're just going through huge evolving changes or devolving, as somebody said. But yeah, so we'll see. Gabriel Inc. Art says, speaking of tattoos, I'm guessing you're a tattoo artist. That's awesome. LCJC, it's nice to see you tonight. Lisa R. Hall, thank you guys. Thank the mods. I saw Trinity in the house. I don't know if you're still here, but thank you so much. CJ Blaze, I saw. Sam Balam. Make sure to check out Chance Paladin, and all of the mods have their own channels. Make sure to go check their channels out. They have great stuff, and they are awesome. Again, thank you guys for mostly keeping it positive today. Again, this is a drama-free zone. We are, again, not perfect people here, but we are trying to be the best people we can. At the same time, we want to make sure that everybody here can actually come here after work, relax, and be positive and have positive things put out. If you're not like that, then, skip a day. If you're in a good mood, come on in and hang out, because everybody wants to push you up. We want to push everybody else up, and that's really how I think. I really want people to be happy. So let's try our hardest to all collectively look at the bad stuff that's coming and try to be positive about it. We can make it through almost anything. We are human beings. We are the top of the food chain. We are incredible. We are incredible beings. Okay, God made each one of us different for a reason. So let's do this. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's an outro. A shoutro. Dex, thank you so much for your service. I appreciate you.
Much love. Great job, brother.
Have a good night. Be safe. Be prepared. And Marf out. We are stronger together. What a statement that is. Stronger together. Going on back. Deep state of mind. Grandma's second band. Hey, knowledge 20 on the way.
Mrs. Bama, ballroom one, and the tree hook a bama. Wind time, with the end times headline. Wet Raymond Knight, Missy Wheeler, Robert Arias, Barbara Mills, and everybody's tired. Silence, just like on a PDA. We are back on a beat out lane. Pass out, McQuarrie, R.A.L. Gina Brumfield. Man, you could come over to, and the whoop whoop, got him on the beat out back on down.
Shout out to Susan Donahue. Hey, nice to see you. God bless you, Susan. Cody Wee, we've got Jem in the house. Like I said, UK people, if there was even a 1% chance, you guys are kind of in the fire of all of this crap. So just be prepared. Always know where you're at. Always know your exits in a building for all the other things that are going on here in the U.S. I really am glad. See him on back. Oh, now. Still, Mo. And the Shirley. And the Sam Balam. And the Warren G. Replay. And the Biden blogs. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Adam at MarfoogleNews.com. Got the Carol McLean, Pam Ridley, Susan Donahue, End Times, Oliver Seaman, Zimwin AZ, Jay Stone, Cactus Jane, Bitter Critter, and no Joe, and she bad at Andy Dole. Love Pugs 05, Grand Illusion by my side. Shirley Millward, Charlie Don't Surf, and the Chance Paladin. Grand Bargains, and Lucy and the Gin. Hey, 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 hey. K King says no ships coming from Xi's country in 8 weeks or so. No end in sight. That, man, lots of crazy stuff. All right, let's start a new one. Seth, if you can just hang out, I think you were a Foogle fan, right? Just hang out and be cool, man. It's much funner, and it's less of a waste of time. Is funner a real world? No, it's not a real world. Hey, Growing with Wally. Hey, it's nice to see you again. Thank you for the people that have been here for many, many years. I appreciate all you guys. Oh.